All right, folks, I have to get into this pretty quickly here, and I got to tell you, what you're actually going to watch and what you're hearing right now is a raw reaction to something that I just witnessed that I can tell you right now it is one of the scariest things that I have probably ever seen in my life. Now, I understand that may sound a little traumatic. That may actually sound a little crazy, being the fact that I have witnessed murders. I have seen things that the average person probably has never seen. And I can tell you, I've been to some very ugly places, and I have actually been in the middle of some terrible things. But what I just witnessed right now may be one of the absolutely most insanely freaky things. Just like, I'm unsettled. And what you're seeing is a very raw reaction. Like, this just happened right now, and I just decided I would make a video. And at the expense of saying something that's going to sound disgusting, I think it's kind of important for me to say this, because the reality of it is the implications of what I saw is absolutely beyond devastating. There's just no way to be able to quantify what this could actually become, okay? So here's the story. I'm on my phone. I am watching a how-to video that is on Facebook. Now, we know that oftentimes ads will show up after a video, and it's a sort of a common practice. Now advertisers are advertising all the time. When people watch videos, these ads go up. The people who make the videos can't control what ads go up. And oftentimes, advertisers now are not even putting ads out in a way that they will sort of spark your interest. They're doing it in a way now where they even look for vulnerabilities in a person to exploit. It's so crazy how this happens. Now, this ad for me happened to just be absolutely disgusting, and it didn't exploit any vulnerability because, quite frankly, the reality of it is I spend more time lusting after steak than I ever would a woman. But I want to say this because this is like scary. I watched the video. At the end of the video, an advertisement came up, and the advertisement was not pornographic. It wasn't like some naked woman saying, "Hey, go on my website." It was a picture. It was a simple picture. Was it a nude woman? No, it wasn't even a nude woman. It was a woman who appeared to be wearing exercise gear. It wasn't even anything that you'd look at and go, "Oh, wow, this is kind of crazy." But the wording that was below what that picture of that woman said is what just shook me to the core. I'm not even going to specifically say the words that I read because in my mind, it is so absolutely disturbing. But without telling you what those words were, it wasn't even vulgar language. But basically, the words implied that the picture of the woman that I was watching was a picture of a woman who was AI. Okay? We're talking artificial intelligence created woman who, if you download that app, that woman will do anything you want that woman to do. In other words, that woman will remove clothing. That woman will say anything that you want her to say. That woman will do anything that you want her to do. And what really disturbs me by this is look, I have talked about this so much. And men, please listen to me. If there's pornography going on, if anything like that you're messing with or something like this, guys, you got to listen to me, okay? If you come to me as a counselor right now and you ask me to help you get over a heroin addiction or a pornography addiction, better yet, let me bring it a little bit differently. And I'm going to go somewhere with this because you got to listen to me. If you were to come to me right now and you were to say, "James, what would you rather I be addicted to right now that you would have an easier time helping me with? Would it be heroin or would it be porn?" I would say heroin every single time. Name your drug. I would say that drug every single time. Here's the reason why. I'm going to get very specific about this. If you're addicted to something like heroin, understand the first time you take it, it is this crazy, unbelievable high. Some people freak out and it doesn't do any good for them, but some people get it and man, it feels so good. And people tell me, oh, it's a great feeling. And then the second time they take it, it doesn't do the same for them, but it does pretty good. And eventually what happens is if you take enough of it, it doesn't have the same effect on you that it did the first time. So what you have to do in order to get the same effect or close to the same effect that you had the first time is you take more. And so you take more and more and more. And in essence, you will produce very much a similar effect of what happened when you did it the first time. With pornography, it doesn't work that way. With pornography, the first time you watch something pornographic, it produces in you whatever it intended to produce. Then what happens is, if you want to feel the same way, if you want to be able to experience the same kind of peak, for lack of a better term, you don't keep watching the same stuff. You have to watch something different. And the only way that you will be able to experience the same kind of feeling is if you watch more and more and more. No, if you watch different and different and different and different. And the problem with that is you will get to the point where you have seen everything available to you. And after seeing everything available, you will literally destroy everything around you in order to experience that same kind of physical gratification. Jeffrey Dahmer said the first time he was ever exposed to pornography was when he was literally, this is no joke, 13 years old or 12 years old, something like that. And the need that he felt to be able to feel the same kind of a gratification that he felt the first time he watched that pornography was met by murdering people. And even then, it still didn't do anything for him. So people who are providing pornography right now, specifically the one who inspires them to provide it, which is Satan, is recognizing that because of the overflow of media that exists, people can watch pornography on their watches, they can watch pornography on their phones. It's not just mitigated to a magazine or occasionally to a videotape or to a movie that you go to a specific store to buy. You can get it anywhere at any time. It's available at anywhere, in any place, or any time, right? Now that it has become so readily available, people who are in this smut business recognize that it doesn't do for the people who consume it what it used to do. So as a result, they're having to figure out different ways to do different things. AI has now come into the picture, which, by the way, for those of you watching this, I did a video on the effects of AI a few days ago that you should actually watch. But what ends up happening is they bring AI into the picture and they utilize AI to create these sexual beings. These are not even humans. Folks, these aren't even women posing for pictures. This isn't a woman participating in a sexual act with a man. This is a computer-generated sexual action that when you ask the computer to do something for you, it does it. And the problem with that is you interact with that for 10 minutes and you're burned. You interact with that for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it takes. When you take that to its completion where it can't do anything for you, your brain is so destroyed, it isn't even funny. Folks, do you wonder why we live in a world right now where there's a growing population of people that are confused whether or not they're actually boys or girls? You wonder why there's all kinds of insanity that's going on? It's because of the fact that we are exposing these kids to pornographic material. We're exposing these kids to nonsense in elementary schools, and we are completely, literally wiping out their minds. So by the time they become even teenagers, they're confused about their sexual orientation. It's just crazy. And by the way, folks, I want to make myself very clear because this is really important. Did you know that the only time a sexual experience feels better, the more you have it? The only time where it becomes more fulfilling and the only time where it actually brings you a sense of satisfaction that is beyond comprehension, scientists tell you this. The research is out there. The only time is when you are in a monogamous marriage relationship between a male and a female. Folks, I can tell you this. You take it from a man who's never been in a sexual relationship prior to the one that he has entered into with his wife. And I can tell you this right now, not that I desire to get into anything personal or sacred, but I can tell you it is an incredible thing. My wife becomes more beautiful to me every single day, and everything that my wife has to offer me, whether it be me sitting by her side and her holding my hand, or me simply kissing her on the cheek, or being able to be by my side and holding her, or whatever it is that a husband and wife gets to do together, is one of the most incredibly fulfilling, satisfying, joyful, powerful experiences that I can have. Nobody's going to be able to fulfill for me in 1 hour or 20 minutes or 10 minutes, whether it be virtual reality or not virtual reality, what my wife and I have spent years and years and years perfecting as we continue to walk filled with the Spirit of God, learning how to understand one another's bodies and the way we interact with one another and walk with one another and talk with one another and embrace one another. Guys, I'm telling you this right now. What I just witnessed is very likely the beginning of the end. If people actually start to buy in on this hook, line, and sinker, I'm telling you, it will be such a destructive conduit. It will be one of these things that will bring people to the brink of destruction in ways none of us have ever seen. And I'm telling you this, please, you got to listen to me. This is scary. This is not something that we should minimize. This is not like some little game. Let me read something to you. This is really, really important. This is 2 Timothy chapter 3. It's talking about the last days. And guys, I have read this to you so many times, it's not even funny. It says, "This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection." Listen to that, folks. Without natural affection. Do you think without natural affection simply refers to homosexual activity? It refers to the type of thing that we're talking about with AI. It refers to the type of interaction that takes place where there's a coldness, a callousness, and a lack of sensitivity to fellow humanity. Folks, this is scary. It goes on to say, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. Think about that, folks. Lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. In other words, you will just in a second, and think about this, people are clicking on this thing in a second and developing an intimate relationship with a robot, with a virtual robot for that matter, and they're destroying their lives. They're ruining every hope of any type of a healthy sexual relationship they could ever have in a marriage. They're destroying interpersonal relationships. They're completely destroying their ability to even do good work. I mean, literally, they're throwing it all away because their minds are being destroyed. Folks, listen to me, please. I'm begging you. You have to listen to me when I tell you this. We absolutely must stop giving ourselves to this type of nonsense. Listen, parents, pay attention to the things that your kids are looking at, okay? Pay attention to the things that they're seeing. Do not allow your children to be participating in this stuff that they can make readily available to themselves. Do not do it. The kind of things that are happening is just terrible. What's going on? Romans chapter 1 says this. It's so sad. Look at the description of people that have given themselves to unrighteousness. Look at what it says. It says, let me read this. This is verse 22 in Romans chapter 1. It says, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God to the image made like to corruptible man and to birds and for footed beasts and creeping things. Wherefore God did what? Also gave them up to uncleanliness through the lusts of their own hearts to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of God into a lie and worshiped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause God did what? God gave them up unto vile affections. That's what these apps are creating. Vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use of that which is against nature, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one towards another. By the way, leaving the natural use of the woman is not simply mitigated to homosexuality. Yes, that's a huge part of it. But this is even talking about the way that men seek to gratify themselves now outside of the context of marriage. It could be pornography. It could be this AI nonsense. It is something that is destroying them. And look what it says. It says, this is terrible. I'm going to skip down to verse 28. Verse 29. It says this, it says, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignancy, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful. Notice this, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have no pleasure in them that do them. Folks, these are people who have seared consciences. Do you know what does it? When you give yourself to this, please, I'm begging you, take seriously what I'm just telling you. I'm probably not going to sleep well tonight. I'm telling you that right now. This is the beginning of some real damage to a lot of people's minds and hearts. Please get this video out to people. Get it out to parents. More than ever, what we need to do is be on guard. We need to pay attention to what's going on. I literally filed a complaint to Facebook. I said, these shouldn't even be ads. We need to be thinking this way because, guys, this cannot be allowed to continue. We've got to open up our eyes. The only hope for our world right now is Christ. We're not going to find it any place else or anywhere else. We need to wake up. God bless you guys.